I think certainly the army stood me in good stead. At the end of the day, I must take a lot of the credit. We won the championship in 46-7. We had a good side and everything went so well. I can't remember any real one selfish one coming in and trying to rule the roost. The club's always been bigger than the individual. Bill decided to retire. I never applied for the job. It came at us just overnight, and I thought, well, I'd better give it a go. Football is about winning. You've got to entertain too, but it's about winning. I've been particularly lucky in my profession. I certainly wouldn't be big-headed. That's why I try to be modest about the whole thing. There's lots of people earned more than me at this game, but there's nobody enjoyed it as much. I've come to love the Liverpool people. Had I had to do it all over again, I'd do just the same. You'll never walk alone.
Liverpool's pre-season programme takes them to the German state of Saxony, the Red Bull Arena this evening for game number 3 as preparations for next week's Community Shield step up. It is Bundesliga opposition tonight for Liverpool. RB Leipzig against the Reds gets underway at 6:15 UK time. Yeah, welcome along to Matchday Live. Gary Gillespie and Jason McAteer are alongside me in the studio for this one, which you can watch, of course, on LFC TV and LFC TV Go as well. And also, there are 2 more matches after this one. The first one is against Salzburg next Wednesday, then Strasbourg on Sunday the 31st. They are also available to subscribers. If you haven't already signed up, then you can find details of how to do so, liverpoolfc.com/watch. And if you are joining us for the Leipzig game, then make sure you sign up quickly. Jason is safely back from the Far East. Did you enjoy your experience?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I've done a few tours, to be honest, but obviously COVID sort of got in the way for a couple of years, so obviously we stopped, didn't we? So it was nice to get back, sort of that side of the world, but just to be in and amongst the team, watch them really closely during training. Obviously the 2 games were completely different, to be honest, 2 different approaches. I think the first game against Man United, the manager used it as a training session. They were 10 days ahead of us in their preparations and had played the game, you know, more than us. 3 teams of 11 changes each time, you know, sort of stopped any fluency, and I wouldn't read too much into it. But the second game, it was a decent performance. It was humid, and then from the other side of things, commercially, it was probably a success, to be honest, and I really enjoyed it. Really quiet nights, bed early,
I'm sure.
every night.
You were doing your roving reporter as well.
Yes, we very much enjoyed your Judith Chalmers impression around the street of Bangkok. That was lovely.
I tell you what, I was amazed. Did you see the mural on the wall? I've never been on a wall, ever. And like, I've walked around, what did he say?
We have started a sweepstake as to how many times over the course of the season you will mention the fact that you're on a wall in Thailand. Mate, but that's number 1.
You do have insecurities though, so like that's fine.
I couldn't believe it. I was literally walking around the corner.
To be fair, he's right to have insecurities, given that you just called him flabby before we came on air. Anyway, in terms of the 2 matches, Gary, that we saw, Manchester United and Crystal Palace, what do Liverpool, or what should we see Liverpool do better tonight against RB Leipzig and moving forward?
Well, it's always difficult. I mean, like, we're only 3 games in, aren't we? The organisational side of it, I think, has to be a little bit better. I think we saw that more in the second game. I think more people will get more minutes under their belt, which again, when you have so many changes in games, it does tend to like throw you out a little bit. So I would imagine that there won't be as many changes in this game tonight. But again, it's a little bit more fitness. They've had a real good training session. I believe they go to the camp after this as well, which will be another big bonus for them. I know Jurgen likes that tremendously well. And it's another game to get like 90 minutes. Some players I don't think will play 90 minutes. In fact, all of them probably won't play 90 minutes. It might be some 45, might even get some to 60 minutes. And it's just, again, progression, obviously building up for like August the 6th.
Well, let's have a look at the team that Liverpool have selected tonight, and still missing Alisson, Diogo Jota, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Calvin Ramsey and Kevin Kelleher. But that is the 11 that Jurgen Klopp has selected to start tonight, with the likes of James Milner and Joe Gomez, Jordan Henderson, Darwin Núñez, Fabio Carvalho, Joel Matip, all amongst the substitutes. But Virgil van Dijk will captain what is a strong-looking 11.
I think it will get stronger as the games progress. I think you're looking for that little bit of consistency. Listen, they don't come back like us unfit. They just come back maybe not match fit and not as sharp as when they went away from the end of the season, and that's what they work on. The 2 training sessions that we watched very closely were really intense. It was, it was a lot of shadow play. It was a lot of sort of working with Darwin Núñez, when to start the press, and everyone else working around him. There was a lot of that stuff going on. But I think as far as the teams being picked for the games, I think they'll get stronger and stronger, and just to get that more consistency in their play. But obviously, it's the team that's going to start August the 6th.
That wouldn't surprise me. That's not a million miles off the team that will start the season for me. Alisson obviously goes in goal, but maybe Henderson comes in the middle of the park, but that won't be far off, for me, the team that starts the season.
Just to touch on as well what you said about those training sessions, that sometimes we read far too much into results in pre-season, but actually at times the game is coming after they've already had a session in the day, that it's a block of work. It's not just let's build up to Man United or Crystal Palace or Leipzig. I
mean, they trained for an hour and a half the evening before the Man United game in the humidity and the heat in Thailand, and then obviously they rest through the day, and then they've got the game in the evening, and it was treated as a training session, to be honest. I mentioned before about the 3 different teams. It was a mixture of young and experienced players playing in that game, and I don't think Jurgen wanted to be drawn into anything to do with Liverpool and Manchester United. It was played down, really. But they did look okay, United. They did look ahead of us. Like I said, they were 10 days ahead of us in their preparation, and it did look like that. I think now is kind of where they get down to business. Tonight, it'll be important to start getting results, not just looking at it as a training session. You want to start scoring goals now, creating chances, and maybe winning, getting that winning feeling, sort of all building up, like I keep saying, to August the 6th.
I think what you saw in the Man United game was individual errors, and that's what happens in pre-season. I think we looked a little bit shoddy at the back as well. We didn't hold that line as well as what we can do. Organisational skills. I think the fitness was there. I think you look at Manchester United, I didn't think they looked any fitter than us. It was just the fact that we hadn't been competitive. You make little silly mistakes. Your touch is not quite right there. You're just maybe a little bit dozy in the head because you've had so much hard work. And that's what happens. You make individual errors, you get punished.
They were individual errors by, I don't want to single them out, but the younger players of the team, of the squad, and like Gary said, they're trying to impress, maybe trying a little bit too hard, but also off the back of a training session, you can feel a little bit sluggish. I mean, it's hard, isn't it, when you train, like, the night before a game for an hour and a half, then you've got to get up for a game. It can be difficult. You're aching, you're sore, you're mentally tired, and then you've got Man United in front of a packed stadium in Thailand where they're going crazy. It's sometimes difficult to, just to switch on to that level.
Yeah, well, Liverpool found a response in terms of results after Manchester United by beating Crystal Palace. It's RB Leipzig tonight, a team that Jurgen Klopp knows well. He's been speaking to Becky Davis.
Hot.
Sorry. Germany.
It's fine. Ready? Yes. Okay.
No. No.
Ready? Jurgen, we're on to the next phase of pre-season now. We know Leipzig are a high-energy, high-intensity team. Are they the perfect test for the boys at this stage?
Yeah, it will be must be a high-intense game because Leipzig requires that. So we're getting closer to decisive parts of our preparation. That's how it is. Of course, we are looking forward to the 10 days in Austria where we can really train twice a day and implement a lot. And today, early, getting up early. Training hard yesterday, training hard the day before, and all these kind of things. But it's interesting. You want to create difficult situations in pre-season, and it's hot on top of that. extremely good opponent, sold out stadium. So what do you want more than to try yourself and to have a look how far we are? And I want to have a lot of information. They might be good, they might be lesser good, just to work with it. And but what I want to see first and foremost, that I recognize us not because of the shirts, but because of the way we play, and that would be really cool.
In terms of the starting 11, it's a very strong 11 you've gone for, the starting lineup anyway. Obviously in Asia we saw lots of changes throughout the game, but is this the stage where the boys are getting a few more minutes in the tank now?
So a few will have 60 minutes, some will have 45, some will have 30, that's how it is. But of course we have to make the next step in that as well. So we start of course with Nabi and with Ibu, their old club. It's Nabi's game if you want.
Little sneak preview there that we're going to be hearing from Adrian a little bit later on as well. First of 3 games still to go from a Liverpool perspective in pre-season. RB Leipzig tonight, RB Salzburg next Wednesday, and then Strasbourg at Anfield on the 31st of July. If you've not yet subscribed to watch those games, head to liverpoolfc.com/watch. You'll be able to get all the details of how to do so. We mentioned that Jurgen Klopp knows RB Leipzig pretty well. One man who knows them even better than that is Naby Keita.
Oui, je suis très content et très heureux de retourner en Allemagne, surtout précisément dans la ville de Leipzig, là où je me suis beaucoup progressé et là où Liverpool m'a vu et m'a acheté. Et je pense que je serais très content de revoir encore mes anciens coéquipiers, mon ancienne équipe. Et c'est une équipe jeune, c'est une équipe fair play. Je pense que ça va être un bon match. Non, oui, je pense que des fois on a un peu style de jeu différent parce que Leipzig aussi c'est une équipe qui presse comme nous, qui n'aime pas laisser l'équipe adverse jouer. Et c'est pourquoi j'ai dit ça va être un match de fair play, surtout ça va être un bon match de préparation pour nous avant de commencer la saison.
And it's a good time to sort of keep getting that match sharpness back as well.
Bien sûr, bien sûr. Moi, chaque saison, je fais concurrence à moi-même. Ce que j'ai fait la saison passée, j'aimerais bien faire plus encore. Et je crois depuis que j'ai commencé le foot, ça a toujours été comme ça. Mais mes objectifs avant de commencer la saison, j'ai dit cette saison, j'ai marqué 10 buts. La saison prochaine, il faut que je marque 15 buts, des choses comme ça. Et comme la saison passée, c'était bien, j'ai gagné beaucoup de matchs. Cette saison, j'aimerais bien faire... bien jouer tous les matchs et surtout aider mon équipe et de marquer plus aussi. Comme je viens de le dire tout à l'heure, voilà, les périodes comme ça, il faut tout donner. Comme ça, après, tu seras bien dans la saison, tu vas aider ton équipe et personnellement aussi, tu vas beaucoup progresser.
Gary managed 40 appearances last season, Naby Keita, compared to 16 the season before that and 27 in 2019-20. Did that feel like a significant step forward from Naby Keita, just being out on the park more often?
I bet from his point of view it did. There's nothing worse being an injured player and not getting the minutes under your belt and playing games. So I think that'll be a big help for him. I think we saw that he was used on a regular basis. Didn't always start. But I think we saw more the Naby Keita that maybe the fans expected to see back when we signed him. I mean, we spent quite a bit of money on him. I think it was £60 million or something like that. So he's a big signing. And unfortunately for him, he didn't come into the club and hit the ground running as a lot of the players that Jurgen has signed have done. And he got himself injured. And Liverpool fans were maybe looking at him thinking a little bit injury prone, not playing enough games. But certainly when he's played, I think he gives us that little bit something maybe different in the middle of the park, a little bit more direct. A bit like what we may be expecting for Oxlade-Chamberlain as well, to pick the ball up and be that player to maybe run at players and create little spaces for the front three. But I think that will certainly stand him in good stead for this season. And fingers crossed, he'll be a valuable squad member. I'm not saying he's going to start every game, but I think he'll be a valuable squad member if he can keep himself fit for the whole season.
I think it's about trust as well, isn't it, with the manager? Trust it, and when I say that, it's trusting the players when they come on to do what he wants them to do. I think Naby was a little bit more of a maverick when he used to come on. He'd kind of sort of go missing when we didn't have the ball, wasn't in the right place, wasn't tracking back properly, maybe pressing as well as he could be. I think it took a little bit longer for the penny to drop than others with him. And I feel this season, he certainly offered more, and he's certainly become a player that you can throw on and trust. And I think sometimes he might feel he needs to do something very dynamic to catch the eye, to make people appreciate what he's doing on the pitch, and sometimes it does not necessarily need to do that. You just do what the manager wants you to do, and that will be effective in the whole team performance, and I think he's grasped that now.
But I guess that's the shift, isn't it, between, and it's interesting that we're seeing him against his former club tonight, where at Leipzig he was give Keita the ball and let him do something, whereas particularly in that midfield area with Liverpool, you very much feel like that those three, and particularly the 2-8s, are often a cog in the machine.
Absolutely, and that's the way that Jurgen wants to play, isn't it? I think we talked about it like umpteen times about the lack of creativity in the middle of the park, but they don't play that way. You know, they don't want like a central midfield player to be running at people and taking people on. If you watch Liverpool, and a lot of teams, to be quite honest with you, there's so little risk taken in that middle third of the pitch, because every team are scared to get counter-attacked. And when you lose the ball there, Liverpool, with playing such a high line, are vulnerable because they're out of position. The full-backs are pushed up high, and you're basically running on like two centre-backs if you lose the ball. So it's vitally important that you have a structure that protects the football, protects your defence as well when we're in possession. And it's very much a possession-orientated game that Liverpool play. But when you get further forward in areas of the pitch where you might be able to take a chance, maybe on the edge of the box and get yourself into the box, then I think that he's got that ability about him as well. He's not
the master of anything now, because he's good at a lot of different things. Like he's not a passer like Thiago. He's not that industrious like Jordan Henderson. He's not as creative as a Harvey Elliott. He's not a stopper like Fabinho. He's kind of a little bit of everything, and to get him in the team, like Gary said, it's about trust in that area. Are you going to look at him to be that creative player over a Harvey Elliott or a Thiago? No. Are you going to look at him at being like a Jordan Henderson? No. But with 20 minutes to go, when the game's, it's kind of everyone's getting tired, you could trust him now. You could throw him on, and he will do that defensive duty now because the penny's dropped, but he might offer something going forward. So he's a little bit of everything. Well,
lots of choice in terms of midfielders for Jurgen Klopp. Not so much so for goalkeepers at the moment, with no Alisson and no Kevin Kelleher, but Adrian is still there, and he's been speaking to Becky.
Adrian, I know everyone really enjoys these pre-season tours, don't they? And after Asia, I think that the preparations will step up a little bit this week, and this training camp will be a bit more intense.
Yeah, for sure. This is the third week of pre-season. We have been the first week in Liverpool, the second one in Asia, Thailand, Singapore. So this week is starting today with a new pre-season game. Really interesting. It's going to be a good test for us. I think we are really working hard every day in the training ground. We are doing so well, getting fit again and again and again. And today we face a big rival, a very intense and energetic John team. So let's see. Yeah, we will try our best and give our best football for sure.
Yeah, we obviously encountered Leipzig in the Champions League back just over a year ago now, wasn't it? And they are the kind of really high intensity, as you say, the high press as well. So is that at this stage of pre-season an ideal opponent for you to face when you're looking to get that sharpness again?
Yeah, for sure. At the end, it's a training game, it's a pre-season game, but it's going to be very intense, it's going to be quick. They have a similar style of play like us, more or less. So I think there will be like a press contra press festival tonight. Also, the stadium is going to be full. They play at home. The crowd will want to watch a very good game, and I'm for sure they will enjoy.
And what about your hopes for the team in general for the coming season finally? Because there was so much to be proud of last year, but what are you looking ahead to this campaign? How far can the team go?
Yeah, at the end, we will try to improve all what we have done last year. Last year was great. Obviously, we got some title. We were in some finals at the end. Yeah, we want to start quick. The season is coming very soon. Next week we will have the first and important one, the Charity Shield. So we are preparing for that first one and just going step by step.
Best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jason, could you make the argument that Leipzig are the best team that Liverpool will play in pre-season?
It's a big thing. Man City?
Yeah.
Depends if you count that as a pre-season game or not, doesn't it?
United was a tough test, and what it comes with as well. But obviously it was the first game, and we treated it differently. It's difficult. It's difficult. Listen, they're a very good opposition. It's a lovely ground to play in, as we can see. They've got some very good players, and Kunku, Angelino, we know from the Premier League as well. So they've got players that can. It'll be a test for Liverpool, but there's that many changes. It's kind of obviously you want to win the game and you want to score goals, but there's also another purpose to a game like this, isn't it? And it's fitness. You know, it's getting 60 minutes in you. It's building up. And I keep saying to it to August the 6th, and they work really, really hard. And I was just looking at the stats there. Last 15 minutes of Premier League games there, Liverpool and City, 22, 23 goals scored. They only conceded 2 and 5. By far the best teams to do that. In the last 15 minutes, it's them players who are the fittest that can create stats like that. So it tells you how important pre-season is and how hard City and Liverpool actually work behind the scenes to get them this fit.
It's funny actually, because he's like going with the two Red Bull teams. He likes to play against them because of the style that they play. They're very high intensity, a bit like Liverpool. They want to close down, certainly from the front. And I think that really is part and parcel like the way that Jurgen goes about his pre-season. He picks the teams that are going to make his team work hard and come up with like solutions to to play through that. So I think you'll see that for the next 2 games, that you'll see that intensity from the opposition, which obviously creates problems certainly at the pre-season stage. So I think that's probably why he's actually played against this opposition.
You mentioned Christopher Nkunku there, 32 goals in 50 games in all competitions last season. We've seen obviously some of the bright young things in terms of forwards move on this summer, Nunez and Haaland being the 2 prime examples. He's got a release clause next summer. Would you expect this to be his last season with Leipzig?
I do. I thought the previous season would have been the last. He's got quality. He showed it over a few seasons now. Obviously, he feels another season in the Bundesliga will do him the world of good, but it usually is a picking ground, isn't it, from all the Premier League teams to come and raid all the top players from the Bundesliga. We've seen it happening in most leagues now, with what they can offer in wages and things, the Premier League. So I'm surprised he's still there, but I don't think he's going to stay there much longer. Certainly, if he has the same season as last season, this season, the big boys will come looking.
Yeah, and he's in the team for Leipzig tonight. And Domenico Tedesco took over Gary from Jesse March, who of course became Leeds manager, finished really strongly, semi-finals of the Europa League. They won the German Cup as well, and they will hope to be in and around the closest challengers to Bayern this season, particularly, as I said, that Dortmund have lost Erling Haaland. Yeah,
I think they finished 4th last season. Kind of just dropped away a little bit towards the end of the season, didn't they? So I think they will be challenging. I think they're good enough. It's funny because you lose a manager, you bring a manager in. I think RB Leipzig are one of these teams that, a bit like Liverpool, the model won't change. So like the personnel are signed to play in that sort of like formation. The model, the philosophy that like the football club wants to go along. They bring in young managers with an appetite. They bring in young players with an appetite to get better. Maybe not, I would say, at their selling club, maybe not so much. But in saying that, you tend to find, we've benefited, haven't we, with Kanati and Naby Keita. But in saying that, I think they'll still be challenging at the top of the Bundesliga. So, and the Bundesliga, let's face it, is not a bad league, to be quite honest with you. So I think there'll be a tough opposition again tonight. Just a final word then, Jason, on what you want to see from Liverpool this evening.
Just intensity. Obviously, it'll be a good workout. The manager's alluded to 60 minutes. I'm excited still by Nunez. I'd like to see him get on the pitch tonight and get himself a goal, to be honest. I think it'll settle him down. So I look forward to him coming on, hopefully.
All right, we are pretty much ready to go then over in East Germany. Remember, 3 games that you can still watch on LFC TV and LFC TV Go before the season gets underway in full. It is Leipzig tonight, then it's RB Salzburg next Wednesday, that's the 27th of July, and it all ends on the 31st of July at Anfield. And Strasbourg will be the opposition. Jurgen Klopp is ready to go. Liverpool are too. Kickoff comes next.
It's his passion and his work rate never to surrender. That's Jamie Carragher.
Self-belief, a phenomenal ability to score goals. He could see opportunities that others couldn't.
Fernando Torres, when he was at his peak, unplayable.